What's up, guys? It's Chief here, and welcome back to another FC25 video. Right now, the FC25 market is absolutely insane, and for every single type of card, from golds to team of the weeks to icons to heroes, we're going to answer the question everybody is asking: keep or sell? Are these players going to go up in price? Are they going to crash? So let's go ahead and dive into it, and we're going to segment this up for every single type of card, starting with the low tier golds. If you want to purchase cheap, fast, and reliable coins on FC25, make sure to visit iggm.com and use code CHIEF to get 5% off at checkout. Now, the low tier golds for me are going to be these gold cards that are somewhere from like 2,000 to 6,000 coins. They're from major leagues and they have a little bit of value just because they're good cards in game. An example here would be Anthony Gordon. He's like 2,800 coins. Another example would be, what's his name? Reindeers over in AC Milan here. He's like 3,300 coins. Again, a really solid card in game. And with these kind of low tier golds, I am only expecting these cards to drop over the coming days. Now, what is the reason for that? And we can show you examples in FC24 as well. The reason for this is, number one, a lot of these cards are just going to get a load of supply on the market because they are lower rated in general. A lot of times you're looking at 83, 84 rated cards and lower. So there's going to be a lot of supply on the market. And number two, there's going to be less demand because people are moving from these cheaper cards, the low tier golds, to the mid tier golds, which we'll cover next. People are moving from using an Anthony Gordon in their squad, and maybe they're moving on to using, say, like a Luis Diaz here. So people are moving from those lower golds as they get coins to the higher golds. So in general, I expect those cards to drop. And as you can see here, we'll take a look at Lisandro Martinez over in FC24. And if we take a look at him over the first month of the game, he was 4,000 coins to start here, and then just had an absolute tank job that first week of Ultimate Edition. Because again, less and less people are going to be using him, and there's going to be more and more supply. So these low tier golds, I'm just expecting to drop in price. Now that moves us nicely into the mid tier golds. These are going to be cards that are, I would say in general, 20,000 coins or more. Again, they're from good leagues. They have good links, and everybody's trying to get these cards in their squad. A good example of this would be Tonali here. So what do I expect these cards to do? I expect these cards, as of right now, to continue to rise in price until Tuesday. This is a very simple trend we saw last year in the game, and I expect it to continue. Now, what's the reason for this? Well, we covered part of it. Number one, people are getting coins and they're moving to these cards from having kind of their starter teams. So people are moving from using, say, like a Richarlison to using an Nkunku card now. So people are getting more and more of these cards, and people are getting more coins as time goes on, so they're able to afford these cards as well. So these mid-tier golds I expect to do very, very well over the coming few days. Saliba's extinct there. That's how much demand he's getting. And just to give you an idea of a couple of these cards on FC24, Sandro Tonali here in FC24 went from 88K on Friday to 133K on Monday and Tuesday. So again, Tuesday is kind of like what I expect to be the peak day. Right here, we're looking at Varane. I think he's very comparable to this year's Saliba card. He went from 66K all the way up to 113K, nearly doubling in price. So those mid-tier golds that people want in their teams, they're over 20,000 coins. I expect these to do incredibly well. Now, next we can move on to kind of like the absolutely elite golds. We're talking Vinny Jr., we're talking Mbappe, we're talking Van Dijk. What are these cards going to do? Simply put, these are just going to go up an absolute ton as people get more and more coins on the game, and then their prices are going to kind of stagnate a little bit. They're not going to drop as much as the mid-tier golds do, because those mid-tier golds you saw, they're going to drop after Tuesday and kind of continue to drop, because over time gold cards are just going to drop in price. That's how this game is going to work. However, these high-tier golds that are going to be good throughout the year, I expect to kind of hold their price a little bit better because everybody's working towards getting these cards as well. And if we go and take a look at an example in FC24 here, Vinny Jr. shot from 790K up to 1.25 million. You can't even see that. There we go. From 790K up to 1.25 million. And then he had another rise here. He kind of held his price. As with a lot of those mid-tier golds, like when we were looking at Varane, you can see like the drop is just it's coming. It's on the way because less and less people are going to use these cards. And then you get a couple months into the game and it is just a massive drop. As you can see, like beginning of November, these cards just absolutely tank. Whereas Vinny Jr., beginning of November, like he's going to drop, but he's still up there at 700K, still holds his price through November. And then as you get closer to Team of the Year, and in December, these cards really start to drop. So golds in general, low tier golds are really going to start to tank. Mid-tier golds expect an uptick until Monday, Tuesday of this week, and then those cards may begin to drop. And the same with the high-tier golds, but those are going to hold their price a little better long term. So next, let's talk about Team of the Weeks, because Team of the Weeks I gave you guys as an investment in the Discord, and they are absolutely booming. Team of the Week 1 is very, very easy to invest in and very, very easy to make coins on. Somebody transferring coins with that Gabrielle. So first of all, let's take a look at the FC24 Team of the Week 1 and take a look at a few of the cards here. So number 1, Doku here. This is a guy that really made me like the Adeyemi Team of the Week this past week because he's a high pace, easy links. And as you can see, he just absolutely shot up until Tuesday. And then after that, just kind of dropped. And we're going to see that with a lot of these kind of mid-tier Team of the Week 1 cards. If we take a look at like Tariq Lamptey here, he would have very much done the same thing. Shot up in price with those meta cards, and he actually held his price really well because there weren't many great options for Premier League right backs. So he rose really well. And then as you move into kind of like the higher tier cards, if we go look at like a Mo Salah here, he had some massive price increases. Again, down at like 420K, goes to 700, and then rises right back up to 700 later. And then Lewa here, I know he had a really, really nice rise. He went from, let's get back to the first month of the game here, 126 to 200. These typically just do really, really well. I love the Team of the Week 1 cards, and it may be a little late for you guys to get in on them now, but somewhere you could look to buy these is going to be Squad Battles rewards, because a lot of the Squad Battles ranks, anything in top 200, I believe, and then Elite 1 get Team of the Week packs. So these could see a good amount of supply. Granted, they're already up a ton. I told you guys to buy Gabrielle at what, 34K yesterday, 36K. He's up to 45. Trinity Rodman told you guys to buy at 100K yesterday, and I believe she's up at like 130 at least. Yeah, she is up at 155 here. So some crazy increases already. These can continue to increase as well, as you saw as we get closer to Tuesday. So the Team of the Week cards, expect those to rise, but beware of Squad Battles rewards, as a lot of people may be getting their hands on those. Next, we can kind of talk about icons here. Icons and heroes I view very similar to the meta cards. The good ones that are usable here that people like are going to rise in price. I want to take you back to some FC24 cards here as we see some of these. If I went back and looked at like 87 Frank Lampard in FC24, let's see what he did that kind of first month of the game here. And icons are nice because you can just compare them to last year a lot of times. Lampard was like 120, 118, went up to 222, up 100,000 coins. Very, very simple there. If we go look at somebody who's not even crazy meta, like Gary Lineker here, not all that expensive. Let's see what he did on FC24. Lineker here. What on earth is this ad? If we take a look at Lineker, even he had a really nice rise, but again, these ones that aren't super meta, expect that crash to come in the coming weeks. So he went from 100 up to 160. So those meta icons, even like the cheap ones that are under 200,000 coins, I think can have some really, really nice rises here. So keep an eye on those. Get your coins. I mean, even like you can go look at Ian Wright. We talked about Shevchenko could be a nice one. He has power shot plus. Van Nistelrooy doesn't look too bad. I see a lot of these rising in price. They're a bit too cheap for me at the moment. People have a lot of coins on the game, so I don't expect them to do too bad. Icons, I can see doing quite well, specifically focus on the meta ones. Next, we can move on to heroes here. We have a lot of cheaper heroes on the game coming in at like 100,000 coins or less. And I'd like, typically with icons, again, I'll compare it very similar to the year before and see how they did. Like, even like, in my opinion, a pretty poor card there in Rickon. Let's see how he did last year, because again, these provide very solid chemistry, and I think the demand is low right now because a lot of people obviously did get these in their pre-order packs. So like he sees a little bit of a rise, but again, he's not a super meta card, so not a card that people are really looking to pick up, but can still go up in price. Whereas if we go look at some of the more meta heroes, cards from like 100 to 200k here, and we want to have a look at like this Jamie Carragher, for example. Again, not great pace or anything. He's not in the game last year. Let's pick someone else. If we go look at Rise here, Riese. Let's see what he did in FC24 as a hero. So had a pretty nice rise, it looks like, early on. Went from 115k to 176k. So again, these heroes icons, very similar to those high tier gold cards. I expect to see some decent rises on these. And lastly, I just kind of wanted to talk about cards that are useful for Evos, like Nunez, like Gabriel Jesus. Personally, for me, these are somewhere right between the low tier golds and the high tier golds. While these cards, I do expect, a lot of them are at their max price range, to rise a little bit. They are going to see a massive drop come Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So I expect these to maybe rise a little bit, hold their price for a couple days, and then see a massive drop similar to the low tier team of the weeks. So these I would definitely have sold before Wednesday of next week. However, I don't think they're going to drop as much as those low tier golds in the coming days. And I think that kind of hits on every card here. Let me know if you guys have questions. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.